Hurry, gotta run! I'm running food and supplies to the miners. Don't pay much, but they let me sleep by the fire in the inn most nights. They're dead. My pa was a sailor. Took me with him on his last trip. After he got sick, they put us off here and left without us. He died a few days later. I've tried to make do since then, but it's been hard. Real hard. Really? Do you have a place I could live? Oh well. Thanks anyway, I guess.
I work for the Wind Peak Inn. You should head on inside. Divine's sake, Scald. Who do you think we're threatening with our old war wounds? We're not soldiers anymore.
Your man Auric is wearing his old Legion armor. What should I make of that?
He's proud of his service, Scald. The Legion taught us loyalty, and we're loyal to Dawnstar.
This isn't over. I catch you sending one letter to General Tullius. I'll have you both executed.
You come to Dawnstar at a bad time. Tempers are fiery. Not a single man or woman in Dawnstar has gotten a good night's rest in days. We keep having the same nightmare, over and over. If people aren't tired, they're angry. And if they aren't angry, they're afraid. It's made keeping order a mess. I hear Mara has sent one of her priests to the inn to try to calm people down. But I don't know how much words will do now. Skald supports Ulfric's rebellion, and he doesn't like having a couple of old legionnaires living in his town. He's a fool. A dragon has attacked Helgen. Dawnstar needs the Empire now more than ever. Drowning your troubles in mead? A lot of folks are doing that these days. You'll want the Wind Peak Inn. As for work, you could try to catch Skald in a good mood, but your best bet would be working in the mines. They're on opposite ends of town. Stay out of trouble now. The Jarl and I have our disagreements. Sorry if you had to overhear one.
Watch your hands around the legate. I've been in the Legion all my life. I'm content to serve. Need something? Yes?
Heard they're reforming the Dawn Guard. Vampire hunters or something in the old fort near Riften. Might consider joining up myself.
By the Divines, I'm tired. Just a servant of Skald the Elder. Not worthy. There's no honor in being a Jarl's servant. No Sovngarde waits for dust cleaners. My family has served Skald Felgate's family for generations. Oh, it's just wonderful being Skald's servant. He's not demanding in the least. Need something? Hmm?
The Jarl is tired. Be mindful of that. I'm Skald's housecarl, and head of his guard in Dawnstar. My only aim is to keep the peace. Skald is very vocal about his hatred of the Empire. The tenacity of the Imperial Legion is legendary. We need to be ready for him. I served in the Great War against the Thalmor. I remember how bravely a Legionnaire can fight. Yeah? Hmm?
Unless you're here to solve this nightmare problem, I don't need you. The Stormcloaks are destined to win this fight. Talos is with us, and when you fight under a Divine's blessing, victory is assured. Dawnstar has a history of being the site of battles that have crippled the fate of the Empire. I hope this remains true. The only reason dragons are attacking is because Talos is angry with us for turning our backs on him. As soon as we drive the Empire out of Skyrim, the dragons will vanish. Mark my words. Don't bother me again unless it's important.
If you know any true sons and daughters of Skyrim, tell them to head to Windhelm. Ulfric Stormcloak wants to see them. We'll show those faithless dogs who this land belongs to.
By the Divine Spirit.
Can't sleep well no matter how much drink I put in me.
These dreams are real, I tell you. Real!
Ironbreaker Mine is 3 times the worth of that Quicksilver mine, and its fathead owner. You're wrong to come here, stranger. No rest in Dawnstar. That would be Jarl Skald the Elder. He's over in the White Hall, probably talking about Ulfric like he's the second coming of Talos. I own Ironbreaker Mine. We make twice as much coin as those horkers over in Quicksilver Mine. And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I pay a good wage for any iron ore you dig up, if you're looking for work. Now, if you'll excuse me.
I'm no one special, just a miner who swings a pickaxe when he's drinking.
Here to dig, that's all. Dawnstar's got its problems, but as long as the ore is good, I'll stay. Yes? Good afternoon.
Yes? I'm late. Gotta run.
Watch what you're doing. Been working in Ironbreaker since I was a boy. Iron's a good stout metal. Fine thing for a Nord to dig. Yes?
The mortar and pestle makes potions, if you can't tell from the name. Just step up to the counter. No, I don't have anything for bad dreams, so don't ask. I'm the oldest woman in Dawnstar. Was here when Skald the Elder was Skald the Younger. He's a fool if you haven't met him already. Thinks Ulfric Stormcloak is invincible and spits dragon fire. The people here look to Brina Marilis when they need things settled. Real firebrand going up. Wasn't surprised when she joined the Legion. So you're interested in my potions and ingredients? Let me know if you come down with the rattles.
Seems like no one is getting a decent night's rest in Dawnstar, stranger. Best buy your steel and move on. I've worked on a few moorings here and there for it. Most of the ship captains are superstitious about who works on their vessels, though. And Dawnstar is known for its bad luck. We're the last port of call before Windhelm, and the ore we trade makes rich targets for pirates. The finest weapons and armor. Come back if you need steel.
God, I'm so tired. Looking to protect yourself or deal some damage? We forge up if you need anything.
Need a dagger, no? Blades, helmets, pretty much anything to suit your needs.
I help my husband Rustleif run the forge. He's a marvel with steel. Not much. I came here a few years ago from Hammerfell when I married. The land is beautiful, but I can't stand this cold. I don't know how Rustleif manages it. That's right. Home of the Red Guards. The land of sand and seas. I hope one day I'll convince Rustleif to take us back there. Until then, I'm content running the forge together here in Dawnstar. Take a look. Farewell. I married Rustleif when he was in Hammerfell, apprenticing under my father. The finest weapons and armor. All right, then.
I work steel, weapons mostly.
They say that vampires attacked the Hall of the Vigilant. Burned it to the ground. Never heard of vampires doing anything like that before.
You've come to Dawnstar at a strange time, friend. Seems everyone in the town is having nightmares.
What is it? I haven't had much sleep. That would be Skald the Elder. He's been running Dawnstar ever since he was a boy. And he never lost that brat's attitude. Turned on the Empire first chance he got. Now we're all part of this rebellion. If you don't mind digging, I own the Quicksilver Mine. It's a better life than working in that damned Ironbreaker mine with all those milk drinkers. Until next time.
If I get any rest soon, I'll count myself richer than a king. I mine, work the smelter. Ain't much else to tell. Been mining all my life. Quicksilver's as much my home as anywhere. Need something?
Lady Mara will save us from these nightmares. You'll see. Lady Mara will save us from these nightmares. You'll see. Lady Mara will save us from these nightmares. You'll see.
Plenty of quicksilver to dig. Mining is an honest trade. No real tricks to it. Need something?
Here to mine? Quicksilver ore is rare, worth digging. Yes? Yes?
Used to be twice as many miners working here before all this trouble started. Lady Mara will save us from these nightmares. You'll see.
Quicksilver Mine is the best mine in Dawnstar, and you can tell those Ironbreaker miners I said so.
Ancestors wouldn't want this, Silas.
Why should I hide from it? This is my family's legacy.
It's the past. Dead oaths on dead lips. Let it stay there.
The museum is opening, Medina.
I beg you, don't go into Silas's museum. Silas comes from one of the oldest families in Dawnstar. They have a complicated history. Several of his ancestors belonged to the Mythic Dawn, the cult that almost destroyed Tamriel. His family's involvement was only found out well after the crisis had died down, but it still ruined their reputation. They were outcasts. And now Silas is back, and this museum to the Mythic Dawn is his way of trying to rebuild his family's pride. It's misguided. Not a student of history, I see. It's for the best. They're a group that should be forgotten. The only thing you need to know is that they almost destroyed the world, and they were stopped a long time ago.
And here comes my first visitor. The Museum of the Mythic Dawn is open, friend. Yes, my collection of artifacts from a group that toppled an empire. Why don't you come in? You can browse the displays and we can talk. I have a job you look perfect for. Let's talk inside. Let's talk inside. Feel free to look around. Come talk to me when you're ready to discuss that job I mentioned. Those robes were worn during the Mythic Dawn's secret meetings, where they plotted to bring the Daedra Mehrunes Dagon into Tamriel. Each bolt of yarn used to make the robe was colored with a dye, made from sacrificial blood. Ah, yes. That scabbard. Notice the insignia? An Oblivion Gate. A key symbol of Mehrunes Dagon, the patron Daedra of the Mythic Dawn. The commentaries on the Mysterium Xarxes were written by the Mythic Dawn cult leader, Mankar Camoran. He promised a paradise awaited his followers when they died, that they would be reborn by Mehrunes Dagon's side. That burned paper is all that remains of the fabled Mysterium Xarxes, the blasphemous book written by Mehrunes Dagon himself. It's said that Mankar Camoran used the book to open a portal to a paradise, where all his followers would live forever. Did you have any questions about the museum, or would you rather talk business? It's no secret that my family were once members of the Mythic Dawn. One of my forefathers was even chosen to assassinate Uriel Septim himself. We hid from our past for years, became tradesmen, people of coin and influence. But I realized that the Mythic Dawn's importance, our importance, to history cannot be denied. I'll see everyone in Tamriel remember that for a moment, we held the fate of the world in our hands, for good or ill. And here you are. I hope you found the museum to your liking. They were worshippers of Mehrunes Dagon, the Daedric Lord of Destruction and Change. The Mythic Dawn killed Uriel Septim VII and his heirs, triggering the events that led to the Oblivion Crisis when the Daedra invaded Tamriel. All that remains of the infamous cult, I've gathered in my museum. Ah, an excellent question. Mehrunes Dagon is the Daedric Lord of Change, Destruction, and Ambition. Dagon's Mythic Dawn cult killed the Septim dynasty and opened the Oblivion Gates into Tamriel. They called it the Oblivion Crisis. A little history first. After the Oblivion Crisis, a number of groups cropped up dedicated to wiping out the remnants of the Mythic Dawn. One of these groups found Mehrunes' Razor, the artifact of Dagon. They split it into 3 fragments and pledged to keep them apart forever. That was almost 150 years ago, and the pieces are still being kept by the descendants of that group, and they're right here, in Skyrim. At least 2 of the owners, Gunzel and Draskua, are dangerous marauders, and the 3rd owner, Jorgen, I only know he lives in Morthal. Here are my notes about them. I'll gladly pay you for getting the pieces any way you can. No questions asked. The Razor is Mehrunes Dagon's personal artifact. It has always heralded bloody change and carnage. It's held many names. Dagger of the Final Wounds, Bane of the Righteous, the Kingslayer. The Mythic Dawn worshipped Dagon as a god. Having his razor would be invaluable to my collection. Good luck finding the fragments.
Frost took my husband years ago. He was a...
I wasn't born in Skyrim, but when I served in the Legion, this land became my home. You come to Dawnstar at a bad time. Tempers are fiery.
My children all grew up and left Dawnstar to make their fortune.
Everyone thinks I'm too young to be a ship's captain, but I'm going to prove them wrong. I don't buy all that talk about ship captains having to be stern and strict. I want my crewmen to enjoy their work. By inheritance, as my men are fond of saying. Can't blame them. My mother ran the Sea Squall as strictly as she ran the house. I've been trying to find new areas of business, trying to win the sailors' respect, but I keep having problems. Take the last trade we did. Some fine cut void salts from the College of Winterhold. Plenty of coin if you know who to sell it to. Sailors are what happened to them. They got drunk and ended up losing the merchandise in some cave. If you're not afraid of a little exploring, I'll pay good gold to get those salts. I better get going.
Can't sleep well no matter how much drink I put in me.
Come on in. Just stoke the fire.
I don't like taking orders from a boy, but I need the gold.
I plan to spend all the days I got left on the water. It's where I belong.
I could run this ship better than that boy who calls himself a captain. Maybe one day I'll do something about it. The captain inherited the Sea Squall from his mother when she died. Maybe I can inherit the ship if he dies. Not a day goes by that I don't think about finding a new ship. I guess it's just easier to stay put. Yes, sirrah.
Once sailing gets in your blood, it don't get out. I've been a sailor for so long I can navigate these rivers and seas blindfolded. Captain Wayfinder's as green as seaweed, but he's learning. Yes?
And so then came what troubles you, my son? The entire town is being plagued by horrible nightmares. They're in serious danger, and I'm afraid there's little I can do about it. These dreams are manifestations created by the Daedric Lord, Vermina. She has an awful hunger for our memories. In return, she leaves behind nightmares, not unlike a cough marks a serious illness. I must end her terrible influence over these people before the damage becomes permanent. I need to return to the source of the problem, to Nightcaller Temple. Perhaps you'd be willing to assist me in that regard. I've already said too much. If anyone overhears what we're saying, it could start a panic. I would simply ask that you trust me and help me end Dawnstar's nightmares. Wonderful. My Lady Mara will be quite pleased. Nightcaller Temple is only a short walk from Dawnstar. Come, we must hurry. Vermina resides in a strange realm known as Quagmire, a nightmarish land where reality shifts upon itself in seemingly impossible ways. From her citadel at the center, she reaches forth to collect our memories, leaving nothing in return apart from visions of horror and despair. Who can say? Perhaps she collects them for display like works of art in a nonsensical art gallery. Whatever the case may be, her intentions are far from benevolent. I promise to answer all of your questions. Follow me.
Everyone thinks I'm too young to be a ship's captain.
Need a room?
But I'm going to prove them
Don't worry. Everyone in town knows about the Black Door, and to never go near it. See ya.
I'm so tired.
Can't sleep well no matter how much drink I put in.